the powers of speed.
Midway in the season, Spec-5 World Tour comes to VIR for 45 minutes of racing, and it's relatively cool out there as the drivers get ready to go into qualifying, then the 45-minute race, 5.2 kilometres of the full Grand Prix layout of VIR, not Grand East or Grand West. There's a bit more real estate if you need it out here at VIR, where on the classic IMSA layout, the sun comes out just a little bit as we head into qualifying. David Haynes with Alex Albert and Michael Derby. How do you think they're going to approach first off this qualifying in the Mazda MX-5?
I think it's going to be important to build the heat in the tires and to not throw it away, right? Because the laps here are kind of long. Don't want to, screw up a good lap when you have it going. There's a lot of turns at this track.
For example, if you were Tom Athon and you were currently in the grass on the outside of turn 1, having gone off on your outlap,
I'd say
do that differently?
Not ideal. Yeah, I'd say that's maybe not ideal. But I've had even some teammates that have decided going off on the outlap is
first lap out of VIR, just in a little over your head, perhaps. You've seen that happen?
I've seen it happen. I've even been off down there where he's at. So
it's happened again. Now I'm starting to think technical problem or something, because while the cold tires are a big challenge in this car, no, he runs it off the grass. Okay, no, maybe there is just a challenge to bring the cold tires in for this car on this very, very cold track.
Yeah, lots of swerving. I think maybe he's had some wheel issues, some other hardware issues tonight, right? Just trying to feel it out, maybe trying some new settings. you know, or perhaps maybe had a few road pops. You know, it's hard to say.
So seeing over 20 cars across the Pro and Open division. A lot of Pro class drivers, only a few Open class drivers between Alex Harrison, Andrew Gilliland, Orlando Harrell, and Zeus Dalston. The rest are all drivers in the Pro class. When you see the timing columns, red is Pro, blue is Open.
Yeah, this is a very tough course, much more demanding than some of the others that we visit. So, I guess no surprise that maybe some of our open class didn't make it out tonight and a little heavier on the pros.
So entering the first of 4 flying laps, our drivers right now, some circuits, 15 minutes is plenty of time for qualifying. Around here, you can clearly tell it's taken about 3 minutes to get around on the out lap, and then each flying lap's going to be more than 2 minutes. So you do need to hustle just a little bit. Here is Camden Hibbett. At the moment, he's one of the first laps that we are going to see.
Yeah, David, a fast lap should be, you know, in the 2-minute range, just a little over. I think, you know, we'll probably see low 2 minutes, maybe 2 or 4, maybe a bit lower. But yeah, it's definitely a very long course, and got to try to get all you can. And as we've seen earlier this season and last week at Zandvoort, the fast laps came in at the end of the session, so got to make sure you get all those laps in.
At the moment, it's Camden Hibbett and Michael Chase trading the purple sectors, but it is just the first of 4 flying laps in qualifying for those drivers. Your exit out of still Oak Tree Corner, but no longer with an oak tree, is critical down this long back straight, undulating up and down, just heading straight towards where you're going to brake and turn into the roller coaster, one of the most defining corners of this racetrack. Very picturesque, but also very challenging, a little intimidating at times. And I feel, has it become more intimidating as the tire barriers have gotten closer?
Yes, it has. It's I remember my first time through there, right after they had added that, shaking down a car right before we went to Daytona. I guess it's been 2 years ago when they added that barrier around this time of year. And yeah, I mean, it's you don't go out there. It's in the grass or where the grass used to be, but it's definitely tightened it up, and it's more of a mental aspect, right? It really hasn't changed the corner for the driver, but there's nowhere to go. But it really didn't matter before. As fast as you're going, there wasn't that much room anyway.
Hasn't changed the corner when things go right. It may have changed it a little bit when things go wrong. We got the first flying laps coming in now in qualifying. HJBC.live has the live timing. Camden Hibbett is up top from Michael Chase, Ronnie Coates, Alex Theologus, and Alex Harrison is 5th in the outright, top of the open class. And in no surprise, basically everyone else is still tracking faster onto their second lap now than they managed on their first. Pace building as we go.
Yeah, Hibbett with some really strong, fast inputs there in the first sector. I noticed really smoking the tires through turn 3. And again, looked like turn 4. I think he's just, really getting a strong turn in. Maybe overdoing it, still trying to build that heat. I don't know that he's quite on a hot one, but, you don't want to throw away really any of these. Fastest way to build heat, just go as fast as you can.
Plenty of slip on the way through Oak Tree, and then flat chat up through the gearbox, which is a racing sequential in these cars now. Used to be the road going H pattern for a while before they made that change. Gave them a little bit more pep. Often you're a little bit closer to revving the thing out and being in the power band as well. So everyone is improving. Camden Hibbett's only improved through a few of these sectors. Some purples have been taken away by Lincoln Fox, Ronnie Coates, and Otis Adams Jr. as well. So there's definitely a lot of drivers in contention for the pole right now based on the times that we're seeing. Hogpen's the final corner of the lap. You drop down, the track comes back up to greet you, and you really do grip up on the exit of that corner to carry your speed off the final corner and a long way around to the timing line.
Yeah, we saw Hibbett there dip a couple of wheels at the top of the roller coaster as he came down to the end of Madison Avenue. That lap there won't count, but I don't think that's going to matter to him, as you see Mr. Ronikot's sending it up through turn 5 and now into turn 6, the lower S's. He'll be flat here all the way up to you, David, in the upper S's.
The red number is for the championship leader at the moment, Ronnie Coates, and he's the leader through the first sector, going purple there, just matching, falling a tenth short of his best through the NASCAR and left hook section, but you should be flat out up the hill, so you need just a tiny dab on the brakes for the change in the south bend and then through into the oak tree section here.
I think that getting rid of the trees kind of made, getting rid of the trees helped make oak tree. I don't know if it's necessarily easier, because the dangerous, scary part is the part right before what people call oak tree, but it's definitely made it easier to see around, and it's made the racing better. You can attack the corner a lot safer without the barriers right there, but I agree, David, that it has removed a little bit of the charm.
It was uniquely VIR to, have one sacred tree out the far side of the circuit.
Yeah, but I guess they tore down the hog pen, and we still know where it was, so progress.
I mean, in this economy, it is tough for a hog to have a home, so he's been gentrified out of this neighborhood. Fox goes to the top, Hibbett to second, gets displaced by Michael Chase, and then Ronnie Coates is down to fourth at the moment, Otis Adams in fifth, so times are changing, and the top of the board, the times are tumbling. Still Alex Harrison is the fastest in open class from Gilliland, Herrill, and Zeus Dalston has no time yet. For almost everyone, this is the beginning of their third flying lap. .421 Orlando Herrill at the blue number, because he is open class points leader at the moment. Barkley's gone up to fifth.
Yeah, I like the color scheme. Mr. Yellow Gloves guy.
Fun fact, yellow gloves make you go faster, and if they don't, they help you signal your intent better. Ray Lombardi jumped up to fourth, so it's 2/10 to cover the top four right now around what we've already described as a decently large lap for these cars, with pole presently sitting at a 2:07.4, more than 2 minutes around a lap, but only 2/10 covers the first two rows of the grid at the moment, and it could get closer. Chase has got purple sectors, green sectors at the moment on the lap that he's going around, and just approaching the roller coaster to really throw it in here. This will, if completed cleanly, go to the top of the board for Michael Chase, because he only needs a 10th to find pole, and this is improving. But again, you're still thinking, I've got one more lap in my back pocket. You don't want to throw it off wide on the hog pen there. You'd ruin this lap, you'd ruin the next one, and your qualifying would be done. So maybe a little just cautious through that final little bit there, but so far this lap looking good for Chase.
Yeah,
and we'll send him to the top.
Yeah, you're right. If you just take too much from the hog pen and run out over that curb or dip your tires, you have so much lateral force in the car at that point that a little bit of grass can just send you off and ruin any kind of lap. But Lincoln Fox coming hot down the hill here. Let's see if he can go to the back to the top of the sheet. He was just there a moment ago.
The Fox pen, mayhaps. Doesn't look to be super improving on this lap. There's only a few drivers really making any hot progress at the moment, and that was a 2:10 there from Fox, so 3 seconds short of their best. Ray Lombardi also no improvement on that lap. I think it's Zach Burke and Zeus Dalston that are two drivers out there at the moment with a chance to improve significantly. Dalston in the open class.
Yeah, what's Zeus have there on the side of his car? That's a pretty cool bespoke paint job he's got there. Got the Mazda stickers on to make sure he gets the contingency money. So that's good.
Real cash money. So Dalston still lapping. Has been through the pit lane once, so I'm a little confused about exactly how many laps completed here at the moment for Dalston. I think Lombardi's got just one last lap, and then Zach Burke's got a few to go as well. So that's the oak tree, getting a little bit of the curb there, a bit of curb on the exit. So you can run out a little wider off that exit if you need to. Then you reach this point here where it is just all about keeping your foot all the way at the floor for the run back towards the start-finish line.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Going to see this
right
out.
up over the curbs. Yeah, nice line through there. Just kissing the curbs. Walk it out here to the edge. Oh, yeah. Beautiful commitment. Mr. Lombardi.
I saw one good sector, and I'm not sure all the rest are quite holding up. Needing to improve on a 207.616. Needing to get to a 207.4 to improve, and it falls just a couple of tenths of a second short. Dalston crosses the line. No improvement in qualifying is done. Joshua Soto late here. Not sure is going to get anywhere particularly representative on the grid.
It is qualifying, so he should get to finish this lap. Oh no, it won't matter. This
Not
is
like
no
that.
Good. Yep. He's a quick driver. Will be exciting to watch him try to work his way through the field with Mr. Coimbra.
Means the only driver without a qualifying time at the moment is Charles Vaccaro. That's a little off the road. And just feeling out where the traction is at around VIR. Qualifying done. Here we go. Michael Chase and Camden Hibbett will be the front row of the grid. Then Lincoln Fox and Ray Lombardi behind. Ronnie Coates, championship leader there in 5th from Mitchell Peak. David Barkley, Zach Burke, Otis Adams, and Alex Theologus. You've got a couple of car numbers out here. Gold, silver, and bronze are the series supporters who make the broadcast possible, make the league possible, and also get some nice little perks for their support as well. Geordie Fike, Kirill Bondar, Michael Coates, and David Starb there to 14th place. Alex Harrison, first open class driver here in 15th. And then Tom Eton, Ethan Hutchins, Andrew Gilliland, Zeus Dalston, and Brian Chabelski. Rui Coimbra in 21st, Orlando Herald 22nd, Joshua Soto will start 23rd, and Charles Vaccaro will start 24th. "45 minutes of racing coming our way. They're going to start to roll out on the formation lap from the pit lane, but it is not the last time they will see the pit lane, as everyone's going to have to make a stop at some point in the race. The Star Spangled Banner is at a reasonable angle back there. There's about 10 knots of breeze coming from the southeast at the moment. There's a gnome somewhere near turn 1 as one of the other little... There's a couple little Easter eggs around this track. The safety car pulls us away, and the first driver to follow is Michael Chase, who will be the pole sitter. So, apparently at Sonoma, the pavement is not deep enough, but in the paddock here, it appears like the pavement's so deep, some of the cars and transporters are sinking ankle deep into it.
Yeah, I think that they've had problems with that in the past. I know that in the paddock it's important here that your jack stands have a small plate or a piece of wood underneath them so they don't sink in. So it's my guess that since those motorhomes have been sitting there for probably years now in the simulator, they may have sank into the paddock.
Just like Venice into the Adriatic Sea.
Yeah. As we go
Same
by
thing.
the cut through for the North Course, the best course here at VIR.
What leads you to suggest that?
It's just so much fun to get to do that cut through with all the blind vessels. It's... I don't know. Oh no, we have one off in the grass.
Looks like Michael Coates has been a little distracted on this formation lap as they work around. There's a few drivers to the tail of this field that are not where I would have expected them, and I'd say Rui Coimbra, Josh Soto, definitely. Rui's been a race winner, Josh Soto's been a race winner. They're starting 21st and 23rd in this field today.
Yeah, they're both names that we're quite used to seeing at the front, but I would imagine that they'll see each other, they'll be familiar faces, and try to work together to at least get, into the teens, get a little closer to the top 10 before they need to battle each other much. But we'll see how it plays out here as we're working down Madison Avenue for the last time behind the pace car.
I say the best course is the Patriot course, and that's because I am a red-blooded true American patriot.
We did get some fun laps around the Patriot course one time. I believe you were in a BMW and I was in a Mustang.
I got a free hat that day. I love a free hat.
And Kelsey from Michelin, if you're out there, we still love you, and we miss you, and we'll come see you. Just let us know where to be.
She's probably doing much more important marketing for an even larger company these days. You'd have to imagine. Pace car's about to pull in. It's a 60 km an hour pit lane speed limit here, which is give or take 37, 38 miles an hour. They are held towards Barney with the green flag at the start-finish line. All lined up, 2 perfect rows down the curved start-finish stretch. Green flag in the air. Michael Chase will have the inside on cold tyres for the turn 1 hairpin, and they are so boxed in behind him. He's getting a little bit of a bump from Lincoln Fox. Ronnie Coates is just behind that. And as we head down into the braking zone to turn 1, bit of 3 wide as Michael Coates is in the middle there. 2 lanes, work through the horseshoe. Camden Hibbett's gone round the outside off this race start here, getting the inside into the little left kink and into the NASCAR bend. He could lead the race out of here if he can, and he will comfortably.
Lots of respectful driving there. I saw some brake taps to stay off of each other. Looks like we're now going to get single file, and we're off to the races here, David.
sure are by the time you're in the lower S's, heading towards the upper S's, you do need to get a little more single file than happened through turn 1. And sees Camden Hibbett lead the group up the hill here, first through to 10th, and then you get that little gap to where Kirill Bonda is in 11th. Track warming up some out the longer we go here, so hopefully not too bad for everyone across this 45-minute race. Just don't want to get into the grass out there early in a race like this.
Yeah, definitely more runoff out there now with the modern scan than we had in the past, and it didn't take long for these drivers to start taking advantage of it. As we see a bit of a draft here and maybe a pass for the lead.
This is the way Michael Chase can get back out front if that's what he wants, heading towards the roller coaster. Easy done. He's back to the lead. Camden Hibbett second. Lincoln Fox running third at the moment from Ray Lombardi, Ronnie Coates and Mitchell Peake. Zach Burke gaining a spot or two. So is Kirill Bonda so far with about to be 1 lap completed of VIR. It's going to be hot for the race lead, I think. Hibbett's coming back. Chase defends the inside line. Side by side, they go up the front of the race lead here. This kind of thing helps everyone else keep their eyes on the race lead as well and not let it get too far away from them. A bit deep in the braking maneuver, though, around the outside for Hibbett. Chase might have a chance to get back into this.
Yeah, the outside is a viable line. As you can see, it puts you back on the inside there for turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4. But we're sorted back out, single file, as they head back to the lower S's.
In a surprise to very few, Joshua Soto's made 5 positions on the opening lap, gotten himself to 18th, so still a lot of work to do, but you see from this shot, the lead is not too far away from him, only 7 seconds up the road, and with lots of little jumping off points in between. It's behind Tom Ayton, trying to go side by side up through the S's. Does this ever work?
Oh, no,
It doesn't. He's off. He's heading through the grass backwards, back onto the racetrack. Little J turn, trying to get it back going again. I think you and I both saw this and thought it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just forcing it way too early. We're not even 4 minutes into the race. He was making good time, and now he's throwing it all away. And I mean, really, the race is thrown away at this point, all to try to get a position 1 turn or 2 turns sooner.
This is the open class battle at the moment. Alex Harrison's got Andrew Gilliland behind, and then Orlando Herald's third in that class at the moment, and they're all part of this big train right now, which is where you want to be. Camden Hibbett leading from Chase onto the front straight once again, and Hibbett chooses his line and everyone else just follows. They want that slipstream down the front straight, not offering too much defense. Camden Hibbett's across to the normal racing line. There's some bumping going on back there as well, as Ray Lombardi gets helped towards the apex of turn 1. So who must have been Mitchell Peake pushing Ray Lombardi side by side with Ronnie Coates right now.
Yeah, it's really getting heating up here. Ooh, there's Ray Lombardi. Just wasn't able to quite turn in when he wanted to, and kind of mix things up. Backed him up, and then had a bit of a concertina effect back through the field, but looks like everyone's got it sorted out, and Yellow Gloves guy's on his way towards the front.
So pretty close in a couple of places through the field right now. Charles Vaccaro towed on the opening lap, so I don't know what kind of a problem he had. Zeus Dalston is just through the lane right now, so presumably also problems there. We saw Joshua Soto go for a spin. Other than that, not too many dramatics happening too early, happening just yet. Through Oak Tree now, Andrew Gilliland just ahead of Alex Harrison there for the open class lead, as Camden Hibbett will lead them mainly uphill towards the peak of the hill, then diving down in a roller coaster.
Yeah, really reaching top speed there, probably about the 2 marker. Further hard on the brakes. Turning, lifting a little off the brake, and then hard again before turning in to head down the hill.
Leading group through the hog pen, just a tiny touch of the grass around the outside there. Someone's got to slow down, and it's Michael Chase. Ooh. Yeah, he does. Cut too much of the roller coaster somewhere, didn't keep his arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. And it's going to cost him quite a few spots here on the way towards turn 1. He's out of trouble now, but he's out of position, which could get him into a little bit more trouble.
Yeah, as we see David Barkley now going to have a look around the outside here. The Chase shuts that down. Barkley working the wipers here as we ride on board.
Yeah, so your big gains here, I think it's Fox to second, Ronnie Coates to third, and Zach Burke, 2 positions gained from his starting up into 6th.
So Andrew Gilliland and Alex Harrison, they're running together for the open class lead.
New philosophy. You're as young as the last guy you raced. Can we?
Oh man!
Not sure.
Yeah,
not sure that's going to catch on, but it's keeping Alex Harrison young right now in this fight for the open class lead. Himself and Andrew Gilliland, you can see they're just dropping back a tiny bit now as the field spreads somewhat with continual green flag running.
Yeah, and I know Alex Harrison has quite a few laps around this track, so trying to take advantage of some of that knowledge here and set up Andrew Gilliland. And this is one of those tracks where that local knowledge can really come into play more so than someplace like perhaps Daytona. Oh, and here we go. We see Harrison. He timed his run that time coming down the roller coaster. Backed it up a little bit so he got his run through the hog pen. Andrew Gilliland pushed out a little wide, got out towards the curb. I think he had to lift a bit. And that's going to
the irony of being
right
tidy in the hog pen.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Not quite what a hog pen is.
Pretty clean animal. I mean, other than living in, mud. But
this is your lead group. It's still something fierce at VIR at the moment. Zach Burke's picked off a couple more as he's gone, so he's now gotten ahead of Mitchell Peake and Ray Lombardi on the lap just gone.
yeah, Zach Burke, they're using that arrow toe, get back up to the back of the lead trio here. They're going to try to slip away, but I think with these 3 draft sectors, the back stretch, the front stretch, and then the connection there between the 2 S's, it just makes it so tough to get away here.
Bit more action here. Coates is thinking about second from Fox, both of them bearing down on Cam's inhibit. Coates looks like he'll go ahead in the big checkup that is the braking zone for the roller coaster. I think turn 1 is probably a slightly bigger stop, but it doesn't feel quite as intimidating as the top of the roller coaster, where you're kind of just looking at the sky and the precipice of the cliff at about the point that you start braking.
Yeah, it's the braking in a straight line is always, easier than braking over a blind crest while turning. So yeah, definitely able to get on the binders harder into turn one. And it's, as we see there, a couple of hard braking moves, passes for position. It's such a great turn one in that it provides that hard braking zone and a great place for passing like we saw. But then it invites side-by-side racing and makes both lines viable here in the first sector.
And that's what we'll get with Coates and Hibbett side by side, and Coates makes his way towards the race lead now. Hibbett back into second, Zach Burke up into third with Fox in fourth, and Ray Lombardi in fifth. You've still got first through to 14th as a Mazda MX-5 train snaking through the lower S's and heading towards the climbing uphill S's. Your open class leader just then back a shot 15th and 16th, and they have got a new driver to the league, Ethan Hutchins, along for the ride as well.
Yeah, and I think another part that makes this circuit great is that it's kind of tough to race every corner side by side. There's a few sections that almost force you to get single file, like the hog pin or the lower S's, even the upper S's. You can get through there side by side, but it's faster to compromise, and I think that compromise and tightness factor is part of what builds the charm.
Red cars side by side. Burke holds on to fifth. In the hog pen we go. Always a little bit of a bounce factor as you send the car through there, and you don't want to wash out too wide, because if you end up in the grass, you'll end up a long way out in the grass. Pulling out of the toe, Campton Hibbett looks around the outside of Ronnie Coates for the lead of the race. And I think Coates drops back into second. Nearly gets a bit of overlap from Zach Burke. All of them heading into the braking zone, hairpin at one.
Definitely heaven on earth, David.
Do you know what that's worth?
I'm not sure. Ooh, wow. As we see,
Open class lead. Harrison's off the road. Andrew Gilliland gets down the inside of left hook.
Yeah, and it looks like Ethan might squeeze his way through here, but not quite able to. Back hard on the gas, and Harrison's going to try to need to run down Mr. Gilliland here as they can try to work together and maybe get back on that into that pro train.
This is the front of that group. Big mover through the group has been Zach Burke, up to third at the moment. Meanwhile, Michael Chase, who was leading momentarily, qualified it on pole, had that slowdown, dropped back into seventh, sits there at the moment as Hibbett and Coates lead us to the roller coaster once again. Cue for a roller coaster.
Looks like one of the fastest cars on the track right now is Soto, but still so far back from that earlier mistake. Starting to catch up to the back of the field though, so the recovery drive is real as we see a move here at the front. Oh, 3 wide into turn 1 on the brakes.
Burke wanted to get to the inside there. It was covered a little late by Camden Hibbett, who's now still side by side with Ronnie Coates. So we're reaching a point, it's getting a little spicier up front here. Lincoln Fox not trying to buy into any of this in fourth, still side by side through the left-hander here. It needs to sort out by the end of left hook here, where Hibbett goes around the outside, and I think the inside here as you enter the snake of the lower S's, is the spot to be, but I think they're still side by side. This checks everyone up big time. It is a swarm of MX-5s, 2 wide, 2 deep, nearly looking 3 wide heading into the climbing S's. 2 wide doesn't work through here, 3 wide won't. Who ends up spat out the wrong side of this absolute schmozzle? Side by side, multiple rows deep, heading up through the climbing S's. Apparently no one.
Yeah, David, that's a great example of what I was mentioning before, that there's just a few places on this course where it saves everyone time to just work together. But you can go side by side like we saw, and it caused a huge checkup. But luckily, lots of patience from everyone. We could have had something bad happen there and all the excitement, but we're stretched out again and headed down towards the roller coaster.
See how it sorts itself out there. Chase
Barkley
and Peak are side by side as one of them gets the tap from Barkley, but it doesn't help Chase get round the outside despite that little extra hit of speed at the critical moment. Around the outside of the roller coaster, not happening. Here comes Zach Burke, looking for the lead of the race, and he'll be scored. Lead lap, with that lap now just completed. Coates seems to have been the driver who lost out the most through all that transpired with the S's and the side-by-side, etc. Now Zach Burke's up here. Ray Lombardi's gained a spot in 4th, easy to spot in gold. Driving reflection everywhere he goes. Burke's going to lead us to climbing S's here this time around. Flat out if you're single file, probably not flat out double file, and that's the challenge, and why, as you pointed out, you're better to just sit behind someone who's slower than you than open that can of worms.
Yeah, and it can be a lot of fun passing there at the top of the S's, right? If you set up the timing and then swing around to the left, go to the inside of South Bend. It's a very viable passing spot, and it's it can be a lot of fun to slide across the nose and head on up to the oak tree.
First and second creating a double slipstream for Lincoln Fox, who looks to pass the both of them towards roller coaster and has a fair decent chance here side by side with Zach Burke for the race lead. Fox breaking deep around the outside and getting to the race lead as they approach Hog Pen. Camden Hibbett wants to follow that line as well. We might get a bit of side by side through the Hog Pen for 2nd and 3rd place. On the outside, Hibbett might just yield.
Here comes Lombardi. He's got the great run. Yeah, Ray set him up good there. They got racing side by side, and he's going to get a good run and maybe slip all the way up into 2nd position here. Oh no! As Burke comes over and sticks a bit of a fender out.
Bit of action happening to the tail of the pack as well, as I saw David Starb starting to make some moves here and just pick off Coates, try to pick off Fike, going around the outside of Fike for the moment. So everyone is getting a little racier at the moment. And you know what I say.
Better to be a sexy racer.
Correct. Better to be a sexy racer than a sexist racist. Got a gap between 4th and 5th right here with Ronnie Coates and Ray Lombardi pulling away. So what's been inseparable 14 cars might have just a little bit of a top 4 getting on with it factor right now, with Lincoln Fox leading from Zach Burke.
Yeah, if there's any of the guys here in this second group, it's starting to form the divide. If you feel like you need to be in that lead group, it's probably time to get impatient and get out of line and start making some stuff happen. As we see the 31, Mr. Ronnie Coates, trying to will his car back up to the end of this lead group.
Elsewhere, Joshua Soto set the fastest lap of the race, the last lap just completed, having passed Tom Ayton and Brian Chabelski and got back up to 18th place. I swear it's 18th. Why does the graphic say 19th? Isn't he an 18th?
18th.
Yes, he is. Going to shortchange him, apparently. 2 other cars are in the pits, so he might get a few more in a second as well. Mitchell Peake and Geordie Fike have both stopped rather than stay part of the leading group that was maybe tripping each other up just a little bit as we went. Do you see those trucks back there? You see those 18-wheelers that are really sinking into the pavement?
Yeah. I think that's why they don't allow you to park there without proper supports. But it looks like Mr. Fike dropping the jack, getting moving first.
Don't tell me Mitchell Peake was speeding on pit entry. No black flag. No, just a long stop. Just a really long stop from Peake. Maybe there was a black flag and I missed it, because this is painful for Peake. Like I say, it's not a 50-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit here. It is 37 miles an hour, I think. And you're fast off Hogpen coming in there sometimes as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're grabbing 4th gear right about that time. So if you're not, or maybe even 5th gear. All right, a little open class action here.
With Alex Harrison and Andrew Gilliland to the left, to the right. Is it a slide to the left and a jump to the right, perhaps?
Slide, baby, slide. Slide, baby, slide.
Andrew Gilliland looks like he's going to get ahead. He's on the line that I'd prefer to be, breaking into the roller coaster, but I'm not as brave as Alex Harrison, apparently. Maybe for good reason. It was entertaining, no less. He got in there a little hot, had that bit of a slide, couldn't hold on to the position. A few other drivers are going to pit this time around as well. Mr. Harrison might be one of them, he might not be one of them, but Ray Lombardi is on the lane, and it looks like it is just him this time around, reacting to Geordie Fike.
And Ray is a smart racer, knows, the strategy of the series. It might be a smart play, as important as draft is, getting on and off the pit road nice and clean and not having anyone interrupt your flow. That could be worth whatever time, might be lost because of the draft. And he can just work it like a ladder once he gets back on it.
Climbing up, Zach Burke, the race leader, from Camden Hibbett, Lincoln Fox, Ronnie Coates, and Michael Chase is our top 5 as they run the moment into the climbing S's. Lombardi also having a really long stop at the moment. I think the green and yellow hatching at the pit entry, you cannot cross without getting a penalty.
Yes.
I've seen that happen here before. The newest version of VIR, the pit entry is relatively strict. So this is a minute of service for Ray Lombardi, which would suggest either speeding or unsafe pit entry. There goes Zustaston.
That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on here as the leaders are going to be needing to pit soon. Starting to see a little bit of crumpled front ends on some of our cars. I noticed the open class cars were definitely a little more crumpled than we see here at the lead of the pro group.
A bit of rubbing is racing. A little bit of bump drafting is Mazda racing. So that's what I'm talking about. See, the green and the yellow don't get on that.
Oh, there we go. I saw a couple, 3 of them of this group that might get busted here. Let's see how close the stewards are watching.
Where I'm looking from, but don't be cutting across that pit entry too aggressively. Ronnie Coates, Michael Chase, Otis Adams, David Starb, and Michael Coates continue. The open class leaders continue, but Hibbett, Fox, Barkley, Burke, Theologus, Bondar, and Aton are all on pit road right now. Let's see who gets away cleanly. That looks like Fox getting left sides. Not many other drivers opting to do that. It's not that hot on track yet either. And Fox is going to be out, one of the quickest drivers off the pit lane, with Hibbett, Burke, Barkley, and Theologus following. And Kirill Bondar still stuck in their pit box, so maybe Bondar got caught out.
Yeah, he might have been the one that we saw with the very late move. So it looks like maybe you can take 2 tires across it, but all 4 is perhaps the no-no.
For no one's purposes but my own, I want to see that I'm having a cheeky look over here to see whether it was speeding or whether it was cutting the white line, and it was 4 tires across the white line in the pit entry. So that's what you need to learn to not do. Make sure you aren't cutting anyone off with your lane changes.
It's not unreasonable for the stewards to expect that either. So
normally the bits that you can race on are painted black on a racetrack, and so I think that's the assumption they operate on here at VIR. You've got 11 cars that haven't stopped. You've got 13 that have. That number is about to change. So that's fine. That's fine. You're playing a little cheeky there, David Starr, but you just don't want to get 4 tires across that. That looks fine from these 3 drivers who pit at this occasion, leaving Ronnie Coates once again as race leader. He crosses the timing line to complete a lap that is a 207.5. So that is good pace at the moment. If he was still doing 208s running out long, then I suspect the cars that have already stopped would present a bigger problem to him.
yeah, the only car that matching that pace is Michael Coates. Just a little bit back, probably enjoying some of the draft off of Ronnie Coates. No relation.
Yeah. No worries with those pit stops we just saw. So Michael Chase is out, having refueled, rejoining behind Burke and Hibbett right here. Lincoln Fox's take left side tyres thing, I'm not sure is delivering amazing pace out of the pit box. Remember that Fox was off the lane ahead of Camden Hibbett, who is now 3 seconds up the road. So the first lap on the new left side tyres was a struggle. You've really got to hope they kick in and give you some mega grip. Otherwise it may have been a little bit of a folly.
I think everyone right now just focusing on trying to get those clean laps in, not make any mistakes, see where we're at once we get through these stops. But as we see, Camden Hibbett with the bit between his teeth, just pushing hard here, trying to build that gap. But Zach Burke and Mr. Chase are giving chase and doing their best to run him back down.
So everyone else who still needs to pit is pitting right now. Ronnie Coates is in. Michael Coates is in. Orlando Herald probably. No, if anyone can go one more, it might be Orlando Herald. So what are you going to do? Oh, he's in. Ethan Hutchins has a black flag. And I don't know what from. If it was a pit exit or a speeding or not giving up a slowdown, but that is going to hurt Ethan Hutchins in their first race in Spec-5 World Tour. Ronnie Coates, Michael Coates are off the lane ahead of Camden Hibbett, but only just as Hibbett is at speed. And now goes through into the race lead, bringing Zach Burke and Michael Chase. Here comes Lincoln Fox as well, seeming to have stabilised and gotten back to normal pace. And there's Coates and Coates. So Camden Hibbett remains in the race lead.
We had one round backwards, I think, there in turn 1. Might have been Barkley.
Okay, so what did you see?
I just caught a glimpse of it, but I think we had one go around backwards there. Looks like he just got a little bit too much on the brakes, tried to keep it off of his friend, and just looped it. Good on him, though, for not hitting his buddy.
The lead closes up with Hibbett, Burke, and Michael Chase. Ronnie Coates clearly pushing on hard, getting up to speed here in your top 6 is how it runs right now. Joshua Soto's gotten up to 11th now that everyone has stopped, so he still might be able to get a couple more positions to the end of this race. Andrew Gilliland leads open, and Alex Harrison is not all that much close. And in fact, it's Orlando Harrell who runs second in class at the moment as well. Where did Harrison lose all that time?
I think he was just I'm not really sure. Must have had an off a very slow lap the last time. Oh yeah. And Lucky did not damage the race car worse.
I think he made a bit of a hog's breakfast of that. This is the race lead. Camden Hibbett, Zach Burke all over. Michael Chase coming in at speed as well. 12 minutes left from VIR, and Zach Burke gets down the inside looking for the race lead. They've all had their pit stops. They're all hopefully fueled to get to the end, and Fox goes around. Then there were 5.
I don't think there's anything on the track there, but we've seen people go around now 2 laps in a row, so I'm sure the corner workers will have their eye on it as we get down to the closing stages.
So Ethan Hutchins back in the lane for either to retire or serve that penalty we were talking about. He needs to drop then. Side by side for the race lead, Burke and Hibbett. Hibbett best placed here, but we might just get a little bit of side by side up the hill. No. Burke drops back in. The top 5 snake up before dipping over the crest on the exit of South Bend.
Maybe we know at different tracks, sometimes you don't want to be in the lead, especially when there's a big draft factor. Someplace maybe like Daytona, you might want to be second place coming out of the bus stop.
Or you might want to lead and brake check the person in second and then get a slowdown.
Yeah, that's another strategy you could employ. But here, I'm not sure that you necessarily want to be in second, even though the draft is huge. I feel like there's just so much that can happen that all these guys are just going to be scrapping here in the next 2 or 3 laps to try to get in that lead, because there's almost certainly going to be calamity, and it's only going to be 2 or 3 of them within a shot instead of 5 here in just another 10 minutes.
See, I'd lead off of Oak Tree. They'd slipstream me past before the roller coaster, and then I'd get him back out of Hogpen around to the timing line, which is
pretty far
there at the stand.
Yeah, it is pretty far, good ways down there, and you can get that run back. We've seen a few guys practicing it maybe here. But things have seemed to calm down for a few turns. Maybe we're just resting the tires.
Now just inside of 10 minutes to go. We're going to get 5 more laps of racing, and they're mainly in the 208s, the leaders here. Joshua Soto just did a 207.8, and Andrew Gilliland in his tow matched it as well. So they're flying along. David Starr was actually the quickest car on the last lap. A reminder, HJBC.live has the live timing. So there's a few cars quicker than the leaders at the moment. Soto will probably catch for a couple more spots.
Yeah, this pace is pretty good. Lincoln Fox might be able to pull Theologus along. Keep them out of Soto's range, but Soto is coming really fast.
Still has the fastest lap of the race attributed to him at 206.925. Soto's had the outright pace when he's needed it. This is Hibbett leading the race from Chase, Burke, Coates, and Coates, your top 5 right now. Eight minutes left, 4 more laps.
Getting a little spicy there. Looked on the inside, covered that off, had to go to the outside. 2 by 2 down into 1.
Bit of last to blink happening here. Michael Chase keeping just enough overlap to the inside through these double left-handers to try to get to the race lead. That's off the circuit for Camden Hibbett, who has to just lift out of the throttle to get back onto the track without spinning out. I don't think it would have worked to keep the boot in all the way out through the grass there, and it drops Hibbett back to 3rd in this group.
Yeah, Coates and Coates, though, working nicely together there, pitting together, and then just keeping almost like, it sounds like an audit firm or something. Coates and Coates just auditing the top 3 here nice and closely, and
Tail Coates, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
And I will. So yeah, your top 5. There is the gamesmanship going on here, no doubt. Some people won't really roll their sleeves up and start swinging until it's 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go, whereas there are a lot of other drivers who've seen, okay, I've made my pit stop, this means I'm in the second half of the race, and it means it's time to attack.
Yeah, as we see 3rd place there, giving a nice push to Mr. Burke to help him. Whoa! Real fast into the corner. Maybe a little faster than he'd ever arrived, and needed to slide the grass a bit, but good job keeping it pointed in the right direction.
Joshua Soto's caught the next group of cars he's going to pass for position. Lincoln Fox and Alex Theologus. So that's heading down into the hog pen now, and speed of Soto has reeled in the chance of a top 10 for Joshua Soto, who started at the back and then spun out and was all the way at the back and has worked his way back into some point scoring positions. They'll know, everyone will know it's 3 laps to go now.
But the positions are getting a little harder to get for Mr. Soto as he now gets up in the top 10. A little earlier in the race and a little farther back down the grid. People maybe didn't want to battle, but this is for the top 10. This is, this is a statistic. You gotta fight a little harder for that.
They all count now, that's for sure. Michael Chase has 7 tenths as they fought for 2nd and 3rd place behind. And so this is, I think, the largest lead anyone has had at any point in this race, it kind of feels like. By the time we get out of Oak Tree, it'll probably start closing down. But yeah, Michael Chase just going to be in the lead for a bit here.
Camden Hibbett is going to, I expect, to make a move this time into the roller coaster. He seemed very impatient, bumping along, and he's got to see that leader starting to get away. I think he'll send it here. That's exactly what he's going to do. On the left side.
Alex Stradamus.
Oh, wow. Mr. Ronnie Coates sending it hard up the outside. Battling with Mr. Michael Coates, but nothing changes there. But we do have a different runner in second, David, as they come back towards the line 2 more times.
Yeah, I think we saw a hint of Ronnie Coates deciding it's about time to get involved with 2 laps to go. I think 6th, 7th and 8th were quicker on some of these laps than what we've seen from the race leaders. So they're really not that far away. Otis Adams, David Starr, Geordie Fike. Lincoln Fox still holding off Joshua Soto as we start this lap. No, Joshua Soto now ahead in the braking zone in towards turn 1. So into 9th place goes Soto. The lead gap for Michael Chase just evaporating slowly, as Hibbert's now the driver to try to close it down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here. Will Burke try to work with him, give him a little bump, or will he try to race him? Doesn't look like he's going to have a choice. He's not able to get close enough, as Hibbert is almost to his bumper approaching South Bend.
This is what they wait all race for, these final couple of laps where you just think about positioning yourself, about the racecraft. Big slide off of Oak Tree there from Camden Hibbert in second place. He's not going to be able to challenge Michael Chase by the end of this straight here. And then Zach Burke, Ronnie Coates, Michael Coates at the moment. You got Michael pushing Ronnie at the moment, keeping us all close. Top 5 cars within 1 second, knowing that they're going to start the final lap of the race next time around.
Oh, here we go.
Just a tiny bit away from contact, Camden Hibbert and Zach Burke there. Burke nearly got into Hibbert's rear quarter.
Yeah.
Now they come out of hog pen, ready to start the final lap of the race. Michael Chase leading, Camden Hibbert in second, Zach Burke in third, Ronnie Coates and Michael Coates. Once again, all of them within 1 second here. I think it will be tough to defend a race lead on this last lap.
It's going to be very tough, especially when blocking one guy just opens the door for the other. So almost double file behind our leader as we again slip nose to tail for efficiency's sake and head up towards turn 4 as our leader's off.
Camden Hibbert gets down the inside then at the left hook, trying to sneak through as well as Zach Burke. It doesn't work. Camden Hibbert gets to the lead from Chase in second, Burke in third. And Rod Coates is watching on, wondering where he'll be able to gain some positions and what he might need to score to defend his championship lead right now. You're seeing the defense, the lines, the weaving on the final lap. All bets are off. The gloves are on. Or off, however you look at it. I like to punch with gloves on. And Hibbert will be the one to have to think, do I want to lead off of Oak Tree? Can I defend a lead from here on this final lap? And I think he goes for a pretty big checkup there, really squaring the exit onto Madison Avenue.
Yeah, I think that might have been a bit of the old park 'em on the apex type of maneuver, which is completely legit, and they knew it was probably coming. But that broke their stride coming off the corner. Couple that with some of this aero braking, and he didn't make it easy, but they are side by side, David, coming down the roller coaster towards you.
And then down towards the hog pen they'll go, single file, all of them covered by 0.7 of a second right now. It might be the run off hog pen that can win this race at VIR. Camden Hibbett gets a tidy run, but he doesn't use all of the road for all of the momentum. Will Zach Burke push Michael Chase? No, he won't. He'll get alongside him for second. Chase might be running out of fuel. They're all going to swarm around Chase. Camden Hibbett will hold on for the race win from Burke, Ronnie Coates, Michael Coates. Michael Chase ran out of fuel, and he was the driver best placed to challenge Camden Hibbett, and he couldn't. Camden Hibbett takes the victory. Then Otis Adams, David Starb, Geordie Fike may be running out of fuel at the end there. Soto holds on to ninth from Lincoln Fox and Alex Theologus, who got caught by Andrew Gilliland, taking the open class win. David Barkley, Tom Aithan, Brian Chabelski back there. Orlando Herald's about to cross the line for second in his class. And the rest of the drivers on the lead lap will come around. We had 3 retirements, Mitchell Peake, Rui Coimbra and Charles Vaccaro, but everyone else is on the lead lap here at VIR, and they'll get around now to see the checkered flag and the completion of 45 minutes of Spec-5 World Tour racing from VIR. Don't expect anything else to change here on this final lap. Camden Hibbett with the win from Zach Burke and Ronnie Coates and Michael Coates, who all got around Michael Chase between the hog pen and the checkered flag. Otis Adams, David Starb, Geordie Fike, Joshua Soto and Lincoln Fox the top 10. Then Alex Theologus, Andrew Gilliland, open class winner, David Barkley, Tom Aithan, Brian Chabelski. Orlando Herald just continues to score consistent points while he retained the open class championship lead. Ray Lombardi, Alex Harrison, Kirill Bonda, Zeus Dalston and Ethan Hutchins, the last cars that completed the race. And then Mitchell Peake, Rui Coimbra and Charles Vaccaro parked it in the end. Camden Hibbett, I think a little lucky that the car in second place that could have swallowed him up ran out of fuel, but that's the game they all play in Spec-5 World Tour. We'll head down to the pit lane, and I'm sure there's a few drivers that won't mind telling us what they thought of this race. Like open class winner Andrew Gilliland, who we grab a hold of. Congrats, and some good pace at the end there as well, with sort of maybe tagging on to Joshua Soto a little bit.
It's awesome to be back up here in the winner's spot. Obviously missing last week, but it's great to be back winning. And then also that draft at the end really helped, even though I kind of lost him a little bit towards the end. It was just nice to kind of build that gap to a little pack behind.
And how did you find VIR? We saw some hairy moments through the field. You've plenty of times this season gone door to door with Alex Harrison as well.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a race, just getting scrappy, just kind of putting our elbows out and, just hoping for the best. Around the start of the race, I was trying to see if we could work together, kind of catch the lead pack, but it didn't seem like that was the way we wanted to do it. So, just had to get my elbows out and just race for that open class win.
And you got it. Congratulations. Decent haul of points to go with it, and always just about the racing here in Spec-5.
Yeah, man, it's fantastic. I just love coming out here on Thursday nights and just having time of my life, just racing side by side, getting some good racecraft in there.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll see plenty more of you for the rest of the season, and congrats.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Goes open class winner Andrew Gilliland. Pro class winner is about to be with Alex. It's Camden Hibbett.
Hey, Camden. Congratulations on the win there tonight.
Hey there, I appreciate it. That was some incredible racing. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I know in the past we've kind of had some kind of sit there, follow the leader type races, and it was awesome to get back to this. This was some awesome racing. Had a ton of fun tonight.
Yeah, so that was one of the things we were talking about up here in the booth is where you might want to be in those closing laps. Comparing it to some of the other draft courses, we saw how big the draft was tonight. Did you have a plan? Did you want to be in the lead? Was that a conscious effort to make that move there with a couple laps to go?
Yeah, I made a mistake in NASCAR with about 3 to go, and I made a mistake, got out wide, and I almost lost the car, went off track, and it sent me back to third. And that kind of threw a wrench into my plans. I was hoping to, I was hoping to maintain the lead for as long as I could, and then battle it out down the backstretch. And I kind of had to change my plan when that happened. I saw Zach was struggling, so I had to make as quick a work of him as possible. And after that, it was really just kind of a race, and it was going to be kind of had to play it by ear from that point, I guess, with Michael. There was really no game plan going into the last lap. I was going to try and get to the lead before Oak Tree. Ended up doing that and was able to get a decent gap out of there and able to fend him off into roller coaster. It was awesome racing. I know there's some contact, but that's just me auto racing. It was lots of fun tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. Do you have anyone that you need to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. Buyers Automotive, Rainier Construction, Westerville Automotive, Auto Smarts Radio, Aussie Sales, Team Stewart Custom Trailers. Everybody that's helped me get to this point on the sim, but also in my real world stuff. All my teammates at Parallel Racing Group, Morgan Burkhardt, Nathan Nicholson, John Carlos Schooler. Shout out to teammate Andrew Gilliland on the open class win tonight. That was cool to see. 1-2 for Hibbett Motorsports, Aussie Sales. So that was fun. My mom,
maybe
my dad,
the youngest combined age of race winners we've had in Spec-5 World Tour.
Yeah, I think me at 14, and Andrew I think is 11 or 12. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really cool for him. And yeah, my mom, my dad, all my family. It's been it's a lot of fun tonight. I really enjoyed getting back to this, and hopefully there's some more of this to finish out the season.
Well, yeah, congratulations and enjoy this one. And in the morning, you start preparing for the next ones, but enjoy this tonight.
Thank you guys. And thank you as well for putting on the broadcasts. Really cool to go back and watch. Definitely going back and watching this one. It was a lot of fun and going to have even more fun listening to you guys call it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, cheers.
You got at least one fan out there, so they love it too. Thanks. Go Camden Hibbett, the pro winner. Andrew Gilliland, the open class winner from VIR. We really didn't know who in the top 5 might have had it when they came to that final lap. In the end, it wasn't Michael Chase because he didn't have the fuel by all accounts. And the 14 car lead pack that we had for a long way there, Camden says he appreciates it. Everyone had a ticket for the drawing until the final lap of the race. In 1 week's time, Spec-5 World Tour goes to Road America. So that should honestly race pretty similarly as well. Some long straights there at America's National Park of Speed. We'll see you there with HJBC coverage, same time next week. I've been David Haynes with Alex Albert and Michael Derby. Make sure you're following HJBC. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to bringing you more iRacing action in a week's time for Spec-5 World Tour from Road America.